This is Wordtris for Super Nintendo. 'Tis a game where you use falling letters to spell out words and they disappear. Ooh. The more letters in a word, the more points you score, and if you manage to spell out the magic word listed above, you can clear the board of blocks and start anew. When you place a letter on top of another letter, the lower letter sinks and continues to do so as more letters are stacked until it can't sink anymore. Of course, much like any other puzzle game with falling objects, as you progress to higher levels, blocks fall faster, and if you top out, it's game over. Get to enter your name in the high score chart that will reset when the game is shut off, and back to the title screen you go, where you can try again. Or not. And that's about it, really. You spell out words with falling tiles, get points, get more points for chaining words together or longer words. That sort of thing you expect from this sort of interactive puzzle game. There's the usual two-player modes where you can compete against each other or team up in the co-op mode, but other than that, it's this weird amalgamation of Tetris and Scrabble, a game that has that risk versus reward factor where you try in vain to spell out the magic word, the game keeps tossing you crap letters you don't need. Every once in a while you get bombs to clear one or multiple tiles, but the overall premise never really changes. When you really think about it, Wordtris is your typical falling block puzzle game in a long line of them, and it works well enough. The sort of easy to learn, difficult to master affair that can be used to describe many said puzzle games. The added wrinkle of spelling words makes the formula a bit more varied, but it boils down to the same sort of thing you'd get from Tetris or Puyo Puyo or something to that ilk. It's essentially a time killer more than anything, potentially time consuming for those in the right frame of mind as well. There's a variety of options you could fiddle around with to customize your game, adjust the difficulty, pick a starting level, enable a time limit that you have to complete a level in, and even toggle whether you can score with repeat words or not. So if the default setup proves too easy, you've got options to make it a bit more of a challenge. Control is adequately functional, you only use the D-pad to move the tile left or right, as well as speed up its descent. It works fine. Not much else you could do there. Wordtris is straightforward in its presentation, with the classic black well filled with water, easily readable block letters, and the wording is easy to make out, while there's varied circus-themed background graphics splashing the empty space in all its blurriness. The whole look of the game almost reminds me of the PC release Super Tetris, except the playfield is actually a bit bigger and more visible here than in that other game. Why I bring that other game up is because both games were from Spectrum Holobyte and they apparently like their circus imagery, so it works, I guess, I don't know. Not much to say in terms of sound. You have some quaint but serviceable sound effects for various things. Wordtris does provide you with a rather pleasing selection of musical compositions, some appropriate to the whole circus theme and other not so much, but regardless, they're pleasant enough to fill the void, and the fact that each level has its own tune ensures you won't be listening to one straight song throughout your Wordtris session. Overall, Wordtris is a somewhat clever little puzzle game that combines aspects of Scrabble with the traditional falling block puzzle game format that begat Tetris, Dr. Mario, and other titles. This doesn't really have the addictiveness of the more notable games of its ilk, and is generally best played in short bursts, but even so, it's still a fairly solid entry. If you're into puzzle games of this ilk, consider giving Wordtris a try or two. Maybe you'll get into it, maybe you won't, but at the very least, if nothing else, you'll learn how to spell. And that's always relatively useful.